This is not a story I'm proud of, but definitely a story I need to tell, because it actually, like, whenever I remember this particular story in my life, I don't know, I feel bad. I feel really bad. And this actually took place when I was like 5 years old. I was living in California, and I had played in this playground that was right across from my house for a bunch of years, as long as I could remember, I guess, like my entire life up to that point, right? And I met some friends on the playground and stuff like that, and we would play all the time. Like my dad would, push us all in the swings and stuff like that. We'd go around playing tag, typical kid stuff. Now I do remember there was one time where there was this newer kid that like was on the playground. He was a bit chunkier, right? He's a bit chunkier, and I remember like some of the friends that I had made on the playground and stuff, they would make fun of him. They would make fun of him, and he felt pretty bad, right? He wasn't as fast as any of us. I remember we played tag one day, and he got tagged. He was it, but he couldn't catch any of us, so the game got boring, and they kept making fun of him because he was fat, And I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything at all. I'm like, dang, I would laugh at their jokes because they were funny. I was like 5, but I just remember them being funny. And I guess looking back at it, man, kids could be so ruthless. They were so harsh. Like the kid was just like, ugh. And I remember all of the kids on the playground, their parents were there, my parents were there, they were all talking and stuff like that. And then like we would literally like hang out at each other's houses and stuff. So I remember my friends would come over, we would have like lunch and stuff like that. We play video games, play with our toys, da da da, when their parents came over. And so it was like their parents would bring their kids over, and then like my parents and their parents would go off and do something, and we were just being kids doing whatever. And remember there was this one day, I'll never forget it. It was like cloudy outside. It was very like stormy and stuff. And it wasn't raining quite yet, but you know what I'm talking about when it gets very cloudy outside. It's like a really gloomy gray feeling and stuff. Well, I remember me and my friends once again were playing tag like we always did. It was kind of routine. We would run around the jungle gym and hide and everything. And the fat kid was it once again, right? And he was just getting frustrated, super frustrated that he wasn't catching anybody. So I let him tag me. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I was being nice. I slowed down. I let him tag me, and then and then of course I was running around, and I tried to tag my other friends, but they were fast. They were real fast. I'm like, dang, like I can't catch any of them. The only person I could catch was the fat kid. So of course, naturally, I speed up, and he's like, no, please. And I remember tagging him and stuff, right? And then he just starts crying, just bawling his eyes. I was like, no, oh my god. Ah! And I'm like, bro, like, it's not that big of a deal. Just tag us, right? But he was frustrated because he knew he couldn't catch any of us. That man ran like 10 times slower than me, and I ran like 5 times slower than my other friends. And there were like 3 of my friends on the playground, right? And he was just crying, and I felt bad. When anybody cries, like generally speaking, I feel pretty bad, depending on what it is, right? And the other kids came up, and they started like they started like making fun of him. They're like, "Yo, shut up, fatty, catch us!" Da da da. Like, "Oh wait, you can't because you're a blubber nugget." Da da da. They were just saying a whole bunch of messed up stuff, and I was just there like giggling at their jokes. And he was looking at me because he's like, "Bro, I thought you were my friend." Like da 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 da. Because I remember there were a couple of times where it was just me and the chubby kid that were at the playground. I don't know any of these guys' names. It was so long ago. I just remember the scenario. But there were a couple of times where like, I was playing on the playground. It was just me and the chubby kid. I'm like, oh, this kid's not too bad. Like I remember my friends would make fun of him all the time, and I'm like, he's not that bad of a person. He's really cool, actually. He's really cool. He likes the same shows I like or whatever. I think I was watching Pokemon at the time, and I'm like, he's a cool kid. Like that's awesome. And then like I don't know, like this particular day, my friends were just bullying the dog shit out of him. He was just like, really like just messed up, and I felt bad. I felt really bad because I didn't do anything about it. And I remember he's like, he tried to like, run away, and one of them tripped him and pushed him to the ground, and he like scraped his knee, and he was like super devastated, like crying and everything. And I was like, I didn't do anything. I just laughed. And then I went home, And I remember feeling really bad, like really, really bad. Like I'm like, dang, like what did I do? Why didn't I say anything? And I'm like 5, you know, like this is going through my 5-year-old head. I'm like, yo, I'm like, dang, like why didn't I stop him? You know? And I don't know. I thought it was crazy because I also like I do remember making fun of him too. I was making jokes like, oh yeah, da da da. We were feeding off of each other because they weren't the only people joking. I said some things too, and I remember he even came over one time with his parent and stuff like that. And I remember we tried playing, and I took things too far. I kept making fun of his weight again, and he just I don't know. He like he felt like he just saw it in his eyes. He was just really sad and stuff. He didn't want to play with any of his toys, and I felt like a horrible person. And I remember he wound up moving. He wound up moving. His family wound up moving for some unrelated thing, and I thought it was because I picked on him, and I thought it was because me and my friends picked on him, and I just felt horrible. Now, shortly after they moved, we moved to Chicago and stuff like that. So, wound up growing up there and da da da. But the bottom line is I was a messed up kid, and I don't even know why that still like sometimes just bothers me, man. Like I wake up and I'm like, I really bullied the crap out of that kid, like, and like my friends did too. We just didn't say anything, and I felt horrible. I felt really horrible. Random ass story time or whatever, but just needless to say, man, like kids have no empathy. I had like zero empathy until maybe like later on at like during almost towards the end of the entire situation, I developed some empathy, and I'm like, damn, like maybe if I was in a situation, I would feel really bad too. And I was just like, I felt pretty messed up. But the kids, like I remember I went to the playground like, several days after he left, like him and his family moved, and the kids were still talking shit about him. And I'm like, well, I guess it is what it is. But anyways, just a random story to give you guys or whatever, because I know I don't talk a lot about my personal life too much. Sometimes I do. If you like hop in Discord, I always talk about it, but never really on my YouTube channel. So I don't know. Your kid was a pretty malicious bully, and like I guess your boy was a pretty malicious bully, and it was just it's messed up. But if you guys have anything similar, let me know in the comments down below. Things that we did that we're not proud of as kids, man. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Take care.